Very good. Thank you. Welcome to the Industrial Development Board, City of Bristol, our regular meeting Monday, September 28th. I'm going to ask Danielle to go through the necessity of conducting electronic meeting protocol, and we'll approve that to start with.
Should we do roll call first?
You want to do roll call first?
Okay. David Wagner.
Here.
Dirk Crandall.
Here.
Rob Nyker.
Here.
Logan McCabe.
Here.
Nancy Cook.
Here.
Raj Venkataraman. Jeff Jones.
Here.
Okay, yes, sir, we do have a quorum.
Very good. Now, Danielle, if you'll.
Thank you, Chairman. As you all know by now, under the Governor's Executive Order number 60, the governing bodies in Tennessee have been allowed to meet electronically without having to gather physically in one location. If you wish to meet electronically, the governing body should make a determination that it's necessary in order to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Tennesseans in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. So at this time, it would be appropriate for the members to discuss whether they believe that meeting electronically is necessary, or if no discussion is necessary, to go ahead and vote by roll call on whether meeting electronically is necessary. One additional piece of information is that if you are participating in this meeting without video, that is, if you're just calling in, we ask that you identify yourself by name and title when you speak so that the public can know who's actually speaking at any given time. So with that said, Mr. Chairman, back to you.
Very good. Thank you, Danielle. Are there any discussion? Tom, would you do a roll call for us, please? Vote.
Danielle, do we need a motion and a second?
No, just go ahead and vote.
Okay. David Wagner.
Yes.
Dirk Crandall.
Yes.
Rob Nyker.
Yes.
Logan McCabe.
Yes.
Nancy Cook.
Yes.
Raj Venkataraman.
Yes.
Jeff Jones.
Yes.
Okay, that's everyone.
Very good. All right, we'll go on to item number 4 then, the approval of minutes from the August 24th Zoom meeting. Entertain a motion to approve those, and please state your name when you make a motion in a second, please.
I'll make the motion. Jeff Jones.
I'll second. Logan McCabe.
Very good. Tom, we want a roll call vote.
I don't know, Danielle, do we do roll call for everything?
Yes, if you're meeting
Okay.
electronically, all votes have to be by roll call.
Okay, that's fine. David Wagner,
Yes.
Dirk Crandall,
Yes.
Rob Nyker,
Yes.
Logan McCabe,
Yes.
Nancy Cook,
Yes.
Raj Venkataraman,
Yes.
Jeff Jones.
Yes.
Okay, it's unanimous.
Very good. Thank you. Financial report, Tom, I know it's pretty minimal, but on this.
Yeah, we had the beginning balance of $94,571.08 and only one disbursement, which was the Chick-fil-A lunch that was enjoyed by some people. Actually, it was enjoyed by everyone, but only some people were able to be in person from the work session in July. And that was $110.57. So the ending balance is, as of August 31st, 2020, $94,450.51. And the $100,000 CD has been rolled into a money market savings account. The paperwork has not come. The signatories, if they stay the same, but it'll be in a money market account, which is much more liquid. And so First Horizon is the one doing that. And that's all I have.
Okay. Entertain a motion to accept these financials. Again, state your name, please.
Raj. Approved.
Okay.
Nancy seconds.
Okay.
Roll call, please, Tom.
David Wagner,
Yes.
Dirk Crandall,
Yes.
Rob Nyker,
Yes.
Logan McCabe,
Yes.
Nancy Cook,
Yes.
Raj Venkataraman,
Yes.
Jeff Jones.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, it's unanimous.
Very good. Thank you. All right. Moving on down, item number 6. This is the time of the year when we do the election of the officers. Tom, I'll let you walk us through that.
Right. Currently, David Wagner's the chair, Dirk Crandall's vice chair, Rob Nyker is secretary treasurer, and Logan McCabe is vice secretary treasurer. Are there any questions on the roles or the duties? But we choose them every year. This is our annual meeting, so you could do them individually or you could do it as a slate of officers. I haven't had a lot of discussion with folks, but I just didn't know what the pleasure of the board was.
I'd move to continue this same slate for the next year.
Second.
Are there any other nominations? If not, someone needs to make a motion that the nominations cease and the slate as presented, that the board stays the way it is.
So moved.
Second, Raj Venkataraman.
Okay.
You're good. Roll call,
So
please.
you're voting on David Wagner for chair, Dirk Crandall for vice chair, Rob Nyker for secretary treasurer, and Logan McCabe is vice secretary treasurer. Any discussion?
Roll call, please.
Okay. David Wagner,
Yes.
Dirk Crandall,
Yes.
Rob Nyker,
Yes.
Logan McCabe,
Yes.
Nancy Cook,
Yes.
Raj Venkataraman,
Yes.
Jeff Jones.
Yes.
Okay, well, congratulations, officers. You got it for another year.
Thank you all very much for.
And right now, the signatories are, which is customary, the officers. You have David Wagner, Dirk Crandall, and Rob Nyker is the signatories for the accounts, and then me for the 4, because it requires 2 signatures. So all that will just stay in place also. Danielle, do we need to take a vote on that for the signers? You're muted.
Sorry about that. If you've elected them, we've elected them as officers, and so you don't need to have a separate vote on
Great. Okay.
additional duty for them.
Thank you.
Very good. All right, we'll move on then to item number 7, Industrial Infrastructure Committee discussion. I think some of this was triggered with some of the conversations we had with the schools and how we might be able to keep that group engaged and actually help us talking to the schools about addressing needs and potential needs that they may have. Tom, I'll let you take it from there.
Right. I'm just kind of following Raj's lead on this. Before, I mean, we still have the initial list that were invited. I would like someone to chair this committee, but also y'all need to decide what would be the best night or day or whenever you'd want to hold these meetings, because it was the second Monday at 5:30 at the annex is when we did these. I'm imagining the first meeting to kind of start it back up, because this was ad hoc. The group could get together. We could probably do it electronically, not probably, would be best, especially with some of the plant managers, to do it electronically and just kind of figure out a path going forward of what they want to do. I know Mr. Crandall has expressed some interest in bringing this board closer to the CTE programs and some of the work-based learning and some other things. So I think it'd be a good time to bring this back up. It's been several years actually since we've met.
Is this what was the Industrial Infrastructure Council?
Council, yeah. So I was calling it a committee, but it was.
Be on a committee.
Huh?
Nobody wants to be on a committee.
No one wants to be on it. So it's still IIC, but it'll be council and not committee. Thank you, Nancy. But yeah, you're correct. It was the Industrial Infrastructure Council. So is there a volunteer to chair this? Or we can just put it together and let the group decide whenever we have the meeting. Not everyone at once.
You let me know what if you're going to do this Zoom meeting, I'll be flexible.
Okay, especially since it's not an in-person, it'll be a little easier. Would you, Raj, or anybody's input, what time of day would be good? Would it be better to do it during the normal work day?
It will be a normal work day will be better. And, with the manufacturing group, maybe better to do after work if it is possible.
Right.
Or after 4 o'clock or 4:30. We don't want to take a time more than that or something. We can wrap it up in less than our time, and especially with what our focus and initiative is. I think if you can do around 4:30, that kind of a call, that would be good.
Okay, so 4:30, and like I said, I agree with you. I think especially on the first meeting, keep it succinct and get everybody on board with what it is going forward. Of course, a lot of the people that were on it before are still in the same capacities that they were before, so they'll understand the point of it. And I think obviously workforce and some other things will be very much on the forefront, but I think also the group could give the city staff guidance on what it is that they want brought to the table, whether it's the State Department of Labor or whatever, kind of like what we did before, have programs.
Tom, what kind of documentation do we have in file from when they were a council before? Is there something you can make out to us that's got just a purpose? Mission?
There's some minutes. I was looking for some of the organizational times from the earlier meetings when they were sort of figuring out the direction. I'll keep looking for some of those documents, but if not, I can scan and send those minutes out so you all can kind of, the ones that weren't part of it, could see what took place.
Okay.
At least what type of things were discussed.
Why was it stopped? Was there a reason that was it just conflicting with schedules, or what was
it got to be, after, we went through some fairly tough times, and a lot of people just had difficulty putting the time into it. And it got to be where there'd only about 3 or 4 would participate and be able to come. I think if we do it through the Zoom format, especially for the first few meetings, I think you would have a lot more participation. Mm-hmm. But April, you were here through a lot of those, and Clay, I think you were also. They stopped soon after I came here, and then Networks had an existing industry program that was kind of trying to do the same thing, so it was almost a competing mission, if you will. But I think given the school system and some of its needs, where Bristol can kind of take care of its own, some of the manufacturing could help create that pipeline for workforce and just be another outlet. And I think getting the industry closer to the school system would help a great deal. And Northeast State and TCAT, we would have everybody at the table. So April, do you recall, or Clay?
Yes, interest dropped off. We didn't seem to be accomplishing a lot. We'd sort of run dry on briefings. It started out with a bang.
Right.
Agreed. And I do think the time that we were meeting, though, became an issue as we continue to meet as well. We were meeting in the evening.
So if we do it,
have to do with the
4:30
being initiated, and I don't think it has to be conflicting, but I think we were kind of pulling at people's time to spend in both. And in talking to our industry, we don't have a lot of people who really have an appetite to have Zoom meetings for the first meeting. I don't think they'd be very good in that format. So I think this would be a real good thing to get started, and we are going to crank them back up, but we could present to the Bristol group what we're working on in addition to our regular work with you, Tom, and April at contacting industries that are email updates and all that sort of thing.
So Clay, you're saying that the first meeting should not be Zoom? I mean, the reconstituting meeting, we should maybe do it in person?
No, but first, I meant the acronym for our,
Oh, the first acronym one. Yeah, okay.
again,
I was writing when you were talking.
I really regret that acronym.
What I'll do, if the board's okay with it, I'll compile the list that we had the last time we had met, and maybe get you all to add to it. And then there may be some recruiting that this board needs to do to talk to some of the industry folks.
Okay.
So I can get that sent out probably this week, and then we can try to get something set up. A day of the week, is there a day that's better, worse than the others for a 4:30 Zoom meeting?
I think
Monday would be better.
Mondays?
Because, the travel will start soon, but it may be a complex if you have it in the middle of the week or something.
Okay, so if we kind of shoot for that same form, of course, we could, once the group gets together, we could change it, but just sort of second Monday kind of thing at 4:30.
Yeah.
Or,
Ask them how they respond, ask everybody's opinion.
Okay. Well, once we get a group and have them understand what it is we're trying to do, then we can send out a doodle poll or something to find out if there's a time better or worse. But I think the best thing would be probably just to start it.
Yeah.
And kind of build from it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay.
All right.
I think I have enough to have our marching orders, so thank you.
Okay, we're good. All right, we'll get into number 8, virtual hiring expo. I think we've got a draft contract to look at. Tom, Matt.
I'm throwing that to Matt and Danielle.
All right.
So in your meeting packet, you should have had a draft contract as proposed by the folks who are putting together the Virtual Hiring Expo app. It's not to exceed $25,000. Checked out with Danielle. They have an insurance policy in place. It meets all of our requirements. We would love to get this signed and sealed so that in the next probably 6 to 8 weeks, we could have a functioning product that we can send out to you guys that you can take a look at. So if there are any questions on the contract or any questions on delivery of service, I'll be happy to answer them, or you can throw it to Danielle.
We really have 2 extremely different documents here. One is the master agreement. This looks to me like a task order contract master agreement. Is this one that was pre-existing and used by the city?
No, Nancy, this is their form.
I had no problem with the master agreement. It seems to have all the hooks and handles that I'm accustomed to in such a document. What was striking was the difference in language between that master agreement and the statement of work for the services to be provided. This is written as, I'm noting to the board that this is written as a services contract, not a product contract, so that the services define a deliverable rather than defining a product in a different way. There was a lot of we and you in the statement of work that I'm not accustomed to seeing in a contract document. They were obviously written by 2 completely different kinds of folks. That's just a comment. That's not necessarily a criticism. Matt, can you speak to me about that?
I'll throw it back to Danielle and let her discuss the contract issues.
I guess, Nancy, it was drafted by them, and I don't rewrite people's contracts for them.
I understand. I understand.
I'm going to look at it. And I don't see anything in there that was legally problematic. I mean,
No.
style, it might be preferable to have slightly different style, but no, you're right. They do read differently, but that's what they sent us. And that's what we had to work with.
But Matt, they basically memorialized the things that you were talking about to get the site up and running, as far as what it was going to entail and what it was going to, what kind of content, and that's where we were trying to get with that work, Nancy.
Danielle, do you see the appropriate hold harmless aspects that, I mean, one of the things we'd been concerned about was current employees being concerned about their employer seeing their information and applying for a job. I kind of got lost in their document, or concerned about, and I didn't get down to hold harmless for those kinds of issues. Is that in there?
There's an indemnification provision in on page 5 of the contract that would cover, most things. In terms of what we are looking at, if we want to protect employees, those nitty-gritty details are really going to be up to Matt and Tom as they review the final website to make sure that we've covered those things. And then if we think they've covered it and Duffic is assuring us they've covered it and it turns out that they haven't, then we'd be able to go back under paragraph 7 and say, well, look, you didn't catch this, you messed up. So there is that hold harmless language in section 7, and they also have gotten insurance policy, or they're in the process of obtaining an insurance policy that names the Industrial Development Board as an additional insured.
And Nancy, to answer your question, within the application, there won't be an employer that sees an employee looking for a job. There's no way that, unless an employee applied for a different position within their company, it can't be traced. So we're keeping it totally separate, to the point that we won't even know the name of the individual. We will know where they are, where they're located, but as the system filters things out, it's kept elsewhere. The employers are kept on another side of it, so there won't be any crisscross in that.
The job seeker has to send the notification to the company. That's not us. They have to actually push the send button to connect themselves to a company.
Yeah, we're not in the hiring business at all. We're in the connection business, and that's what this application can do.
Matt, this is David. Just a couple questions. When we first started talking to these guys, we were basically proposing 2 different types of contracts. One where we would own this, it's ours, and proprietary info. The other was much less cost, but they would be able to market it to other folks. Which direction is this 25,000?
This has all that in it about the licensing.
It's the second one.
It's the second one, yes.
That's clearly in there.
Okay. And then the 25,000, well, it's not to exceed though, correct?
Not to exceed that, yes, that is correct.
So does that make this a cost type contract?
Nancy, can you clarify what you mean by cost type contract? We don't usually deal with federal government procurement.
I'm sorry, the 2 basic types would be fixed price, whereas this is the description of what I'm going to deliver to you, and this is a fixed price for that. Cost type says I'm going to spend all your money until I get to this point, and if you want me to do more or differently, you will give me more money.
This is not either one of those. This is an hourly rate contract, and
okay, so all right, that's. But
it's not to exceed $25,000.
Yeah, time and services. That's not my favorite, but that's the kind of deal we're in here. It's I understand.
Right, and just to go back to the other, I think at the end of this contract, we're going to have, the IDB will have the right to use this product. basically forever. It's going to be something that the IDB owns, in the sense that it's a product that the IDB can continue to use and work with. But in terms of marketing it to other organizations and other cities and that idea, we have to be very careful in whether we do that kind of thing, because the Industrial Development Board doesn't really have the power to be a business in itself. Your goal is to promote industry and workplace development within the city of Bristol. And I think this sort of hiring platform for Bristol is well within your goals. But when you go out and start talking about marketing it to other cities and it becoming its own sort of profit center for the IDB, that could be questionable. So, well,
the way I read it, Danielle, is that in the intellectual property rights section, which I think is very well written, that the subcontractor can go do that.
They will be able to go out and market the product.
They can go do that. That's for them to do, not for us.
Right, exactly. That's what I was trying to get to, is that we are going to have the product. We'll be using it. We may get credit as we're the first group out there to have used this product, and it's been great. But it won't really be our product to market and sell to other entities.
But we hope to be revenue neutral, to where any upfitting or any changes or even a complete redo of the site, we won't have to pay for that.
Right. There's language addressing that in there, I believe.
There's language that protects us and allows them to do their thing in there. And because this is a master agreement, it's going to be pretty simple to continue this on a services basis from year to year.
That's what my question was. Is there enough, and I'll be first to tell you, I got to go to layman's terms here because I don't understand all of this stuff. But as far as open source software, there's enough open source software that after the first year, we could actually put it out for bid as far as somebody that maintains and or keeps up our website, or not?
Dirk, I think we could, because we'll have licenses to use the software, not just the open source software, but proprietary software that Suffolk has to develop. We would have the licenses for that. And I think at that point, if we wanted somebody else to host the product for us on a website, we could do that. But I think that one thing we've talked about with Suffolk is that if they're able to monetize this, then they would be wanting to work with us to keep us, happy for not very much money.
Sure, and I have no problem with that and don't anticipate problems, but I'd hate to be pigeonholed to where we had no options.
Right, and I think we've addressed that in here, at least tried to, that we get whatever, they'll do whatever they have to do to let us have the product and be able to use the product.
Okay.
In your time.
If we're not able to monetize, like you said originally when we were talking, that maybe we could take it to other municipalities or other arenas and have some money come back to our IDB board. If that's going to be problematic, then could we go back to these folks and set some sort of benchmarks? If this becomes a revenue generator in excess of X, could they rebate us back the $25,000 that we're actually doing to start with, or would that be a problem for us in the future too?
I don't think that would be a problem, Jeff. That's not currently in the document.
I understand that, because originally when we were talking, that if they took it to other places, that we would get a percentage of that back. So, that was one of our discussions that we had in that, I believe, is that we would have something coming back as the board. So if that's going to be a problem, do you think that's something that we could add, or is that opening up Pandora's box?
The benefit that we've got here, I'm sorry, Danielle, did you want to address that?
No, go ahead, please.
We've already taken the benefit. The fact that this is for $25,000 instead of for $50,000, it means that trade-off has already been made, and we're getting that kind of savings up front.
I understand that, Nancy, but if they're going to be able to to basically use us, our seed money and us as the guinea pigs, so to speak, on this to develop this. It would be nice eventually if this cost us nothing, was my point. If we could get it down to where by doing this, somehow we got money rebated back from them, even over the next few years, to where this is a zero cost to us. And I don't know if that's possible or not.
Well, Jeff, this is us. We're the ones creating this.
Yeah.
They're doing the work for us, but we could probably have a provision. They're a 501c3 that they could not necessarily give the money to IDB, but they could give it to another effort that deals with workforce in Bristol. Is that correct, Danielle?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fine. And I think actually even the concept of a rebate is not problematic. If we turn this over to them and say, here, go market this,
right,
and we get the first $25,000 back as our seed money to be able to. It's just that once we start profiting off of it, that's when we become, are we running this business?
And it's not that I don't think they're giving us a good deal. I don't mean that in any way, shape, form, or manner, but I was just looking to the future. If this is big as everyone thinks it could possibly be, it would just be a nice caveat for us to say that we've been able to do that and it didn't cost anything. In the final analysis, we were able to do this for no cost.
I agree with you, everybody. What you're all saying is, okay, we don't want to be a profit organization or something like that. If it is a successful, others can be used, we can retrieve our investment costs. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
I think we can, if those money comes back, we can invest somewhere else in other IDB investment. It's not something is going to somewhere else. So, we should have that provision in that. If that's what happens, we should retrieve what our investment cost is, at least.
So if we just use it as a reimbursement or remunerate whatever our amount or whatever our investment is, we're not really making money. We're just reimbursing the initial
investment
cost.
The initial investment.
And I think that was actually in the initial conceptual conversations that I had with David Nelson in regard to this baby we're getting ready to birth. The concept was to recoup what we have invested into this project and then be able to maintain a zero cost service agreement with them so that David and his team can maintain this, can update it, can monitor it to make sure that, nobody's hacking into it or trying to take it over or anything like that. And so, it's going to be a great benefit to the community, but after it's successful here, then we can grow it out and encourage others to participate. And I think that's where the growth and that's where the money can come from.
So Danielle, do we need to add some language to?
Yes. Yeah, we would need to add some language to the statement of work, probably.
That's where I see it going, is a statement of work. It'd be just another paragraph.
All the licensing stuff is back in the master agreement, isn't it?
Right, but the payment is in the statement of work, the actual how much we're going to pay. And I think if you're going to try to capture, because this is almost separate from the licensing, it's actually more of it's going to be a new provision in the agreement. So far, there's nothing in there like that.
I wasn't trying to complicate it. I just wanted to make sure I was understanding.
No, I don't think it complicates. I just think, if it does start, the licenses are being used around the country, and their expenses are covered, then I think it could come back to IDB, and then we would be able to, and we just need to memorialize that in the statement of work.
Yep.
And then we can go ahead and get that sent out. Danielle, are they able to approve these contracts and the statement of work with that provision being put in there, or do we need to bring this back to the board?
I think that what they could do is approve the contract as long as we can get that change made, and then if we can't get that change made, then we'd have to come back to them for approval. If that's, but the IDB, I mean, or they could say we'd rather consider this. It's up to the IDB really. They could ask to consider this as their October meeting.
One minor housekeeping on page 9, there is no section 20, which is referred to in section 21.
Thank you. We can fix that.
That's the double secret probation section.
All right, what's the flavor of the group? Somebody make a motion, I would think, to approve with the additional language in the, we're going to put that in the scope of work, statement of work.
Statement of work, yes.
At this point, I mean, I think if it's okay with you, if we can just say with that additional language, and we'll make sure it's where it needs to be, because they may have an idea about how to amend it as well. But the effect of the amendment would be that you would like to have the Industrial Development Board reimbursed if Duffic is able to monetize this product, and that the IDB would eventually be reimbursed its investment out of the revenues that Duffic gets from the product.
Okay. Did you get all that, Tom?
Yep.
Can I get a motion to such based on what Danielle was telling us?
Raj Venkataraman.
I'll second.
Motion.
Jeff.
Who seconded?
Jeff.
Jeff, okay.
Roll call, Mr. Anderson.
Okay, David Wagner,
Yes.
Dirk Crandall,
Yes.
Rob Nyker. Rob Nyker.
Did, yes.
Logan McCabe,
Yes.
Nancy Cook,
Abstain.
Raj Venkataraman,
Yes.
Jeff Jones.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all. And Tom, just I guess when we get that language ironed out, throw that back out to us then.
Okay.
All right. We'll go to section number 9, local partner updates.
Okay. I think we have Lynn first.
Yes.
Trying to come up here. Oh, there we go. All right. Hey, hi everybody. Not a lot new to update. Still working some projects we have been working for quite some time. So, like I said, not a lot of new updated dates at this point. We are getting into more of our businesses now. So that's good news and good word. But that's really all I've got, Tom. It's not a big one today.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of activity. It's just things haven't moved so much since last month. But it's all still positive. Everything is still marching forward, even if it's at a glacial pace.
Absolutely.
I think Mr. Walker's up next.
Thanks, Dave. I was just looking to get, if anybody's on Twitter, I recommend at Rate My Skype Room as an account. I got turned on to that this weekend. It's very addictive, but I have to be honest, I've been sitting here judging each and every one of you as to what your background is and if you're properly lit. I realize I'm backlit, which is a problem. Anyway, it's really a funny follow. We're working a lot of nice projects here. You know, COVID continues to slow projects in terms of how many we have and the pace at which projects move and the manner in which they move. We actually do have to work on my lighting as I look at that because we are on this thing, as I'm sure most of you are. April, you're just completely in the dark right now, by the way. You get a 2 out of 10. But anyway, but you know, everybody's adjusting, and we're working 3 nice projects with Tom and April, and of course Lynn is involved in each one of those. That usually the lead on at least a couple of them, but we continue to march forward. We continue to work on our regional efforts. I try my best to keep Tom and April and all our partners updated, as well as our board. And Dave, as being my chair-elect and an officer, is very involved in that. So, but anytime any of our stakeholders, and IDB is certainly a stakeholder, you want to get a hold of me and say, hey, I'm hearing or reading this. I think it's part of my job to give stakeholders my view of what's going on, what should go on. But anyway, it's a lot of hurdles to be cleared between now and I think anything making the paper as to what we want to do, and we don't know yet. But appreciate all the input that we do have from Bristol City Council, Dave and Tom and April, and everybody who's been involved in this. I left out Matt, I realize, and just to be honest, we don't tell him about all the projects.
Thanks, Clay. I appreciate that.
Clay, if I think we have Chad. Is Chad Keen on?
Yeah, Chad's here.
Would it be appropriate to take maybe 5 minutes? Because I know Clay presented to the work session of council last week, and just kind of give a brief summary of how that work session transpired and kind of what outcomes you see from that. Might be good for this group to hear just a brief summary of that.
I'd be happy to, and without getting, I don't think we ought to get too deep in the weeds because we got a working document, but suffice to say, we think that we should, continue to be a leader on it, or else we're going to be led by someone else and wake up one day and say, hey, what's this group and what are they doing? But I think we've got the expertise and the experience. A lot of people refer to networks as a regional organization, but a county, and now adding our services to Hawkins County, does not a region make. But we have the same, working with Bristol and Kingsport, it's basically the same techniques and the same methods that we use. And so I think we're uniquely positioned to be that leader. We certainly have seen, and y'all agree, disagree, or comment however you wish, because I wasn't here for the start of it, but my history lessons, and I've observed in my 7 years here, Bristol and Kingsport folks continuing to come together, working more succinctly, and it's never easy. It's like, you're never done with working, figuring out your regional methods and ideals and values. But I think we've done it, and we've done it well. And if others follow suit, then I think we'll be better for it. I hope I don't know what you were looking for, David, but I didn't want to get bogged down in a lot of details that we haven't finalized or shared with other partners yet.
Very good.
I think from the city council standpoint, Networks has been doing a good job. We've got a model with Hawkins County that has worked real well. And my understanding is that the city council, along with our administrative staff, is going to be basically putting together a letter of the way we see things forward. We do have the proposal from NetRep, and it's going to kind of build off. I won't say build off of that. It'll be different from that. And I think Clay may be, talking with the Kingsport folks, Sullivan County folks, and it sounds like we're all kind of pointed in the same direction. But the council is going to be, I'm going to say the administrative staff and the council are going to be putting together a letter to give to Networks as to the way we think things should go forward. And then I think Networks is going to put together something moving forward with NetRep.
Okay.
Or let me say, not necessarily NetRep, moving forward with our region, regional direction.
Very good. Thanks, Chad. April, you still on?
I am. Thank you for asking. The only thing I would add to what my teammates have already mentioned is that we hope to see some excavation happening on lots 2 and 3 in the Bristol Business Park.
Fantastic. What about Tom, Clay, April? Did the county ever do the bond issue? Did we ever get that done so we can start the rail siding?
Yeah, that got, we got that extended because of the issue. I mean, they voted and they haven't executed yet, but we're still working on the required, I guess it's like a certificate of need.
Yeah.
And we're awaiting that before they can actually issue it, but it's all been granted to do so that we can move forward with that. But it's all lined up and we're good on our deadlines. The state's encouraging us and wants us to kind of get on the ball with this. But right now it's the state that we have to get the certificate for. But we met with Matter and Craig. We talked to folks. I mean, we're all lined up and ready to go, David, whenever
Okay.
we get that from the state.
Okay, good. Very good. All right, I don't see anything, just director's discussions. Are there any comments or questions or anything anybody wants to discuss?
The only thing, it's not about the IDB. I want to let you know. Have you all seen that Wall Street Journal article about Bristol on September 25th?
Yes.
The housing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
We should all be proud of it. I think we should use that kind of a tool, how we can propagate our economic development also.
Yes, sir.
I'll just add to that, Raj. Thank you. It is a huge focus for the city council right now, how we move forward with housing. Tom and Danielle and other staff members have done an excellent job in presenting possible options, especially up and down the Volunteer Parkway corridor, which I think this group has seen. We also have done a really good job in our planning department, our codes department, about a plan moving forward, in particular with codes, to make sure that we're on a level playing field with everybody in our area. Johnson City, Kingsport, Sullivan County, Washington County, Tennessee, all of those. We just want to make sure that we're in the hunt when it comes to when a builder developer decides to build. We want to be there, and so if we're on a level playing field as far as codes goes and things of that nature, we're good. Also, what incentives may be out there that we can give builders and developers to work from, as well as we are approaching, the state of Tennessee from multiple directions about ideas that we have for incentives. So it's a huge focus, and I'm excited about it. I hopefully by the holidays, we're going to have clear direction. And well, I think we'll probably move through several things over the next 90 days. Taking care of the codes first would be number one, and so on.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah.
I will just mention too, we'll give you some more information as we get closer, but due to some requests from some of our directors, we are going to try to meet in person next month, October 26th. If we can configure the conference room there at Slater, or excuse me, at the annex, we'll make that work. If not, we'll go to the gym at the Slater Center. So just kind of mark that on your calendar. We are going to try to meet in person on October 26th, and we'll get you more information and logistics and such as we get closer. Tom, is there anything else?
No, sir. I believe that's it. If that's all the director's comments.
Anybody have anything else? All right, hearing no more business, we'll be adjourned.